Hi, welcome to Clutter Bravado.
Yes, and it's the energy. It's not just about the stuff.
So we should probably just get into it, right?
Let's go.
Good afternoon, Laurent.
Good afternoon, Elise, and welcome to our podcast, Clutter Bravado. Silly mood.
Okay, you have been on 2 podcasts that are not Clutter Bravado lately. You were on the Sam Dever podcast. We were on that together, so
We were on
that's
that
fair.
together.
But you were also on The Circle with Jeff Sod.
I know. I love Jeff so much.
I watched both of them, and I think that you're really, you're finding your voice.
The one that doesn't finish a sentence.
Hey,
Oh, look, I just did.
Look at you. You're nailing it. You're doing such a great job.
I did the subject, verb, and whatever that's called. That's awesome.
How was your experience being on a podcast that's not this one?
It was actually, both of them were really fun. Sam was great. We were together, so it was a little bit easier. Jeff made it really easy, and we have a history that made it fun to talk to him, and I enjoyed it very, very, very much.
Yeah, we really need to have him back on. The fact that he was our first guest.
Soon there's a book. There's a book coming out.
That's right.
So that one, his book is coming out, I think, at the beginning of the year. So we're going to be having him for that, and I'm excited to read it.
That'll be great. Yeah. What else is going on with you? What else is new?
Well, the line has been busy.
Yes.
And that's been incredible. So that I'm very grateful for. Working with some really dear friends on a few projects, and that's been incredible. On a very, very separate note, I've been having a lot of fun with acting.
Yes.
And so that's been, it's been fun because I feel like a kid again with, you have to learn technique and you have to learn the foundation, but it also, yesterday I downloaded a book by Tennessee Williams. Who the hell, I didn't even know who that writer was because I was not in that world at all. So it's allowing me to expand a little bit my horizon, and I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. Are you going to talk about the other thing?
No.
Okay, fine. I'll cut that part out.
You don't have to cut that part out. We'll talk about it if...
Wait, do you want to talk about it?
No, I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about it if I nail it.
The audition you have?
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about...
The audition that you have? That you have your first audition as an actor? Can we just take a moment? It's okay. I am so proud of you. You are a little bit. I'm so proud of you. That's so cool. That's
but
so
someone else's bigger news.
Okay. Yeah, well.
Yeah, well, let me upstage you.
No, not at all. I mentioned on the last episode that I'm in a short film at the end of the month and doing a lot of prep for that.
Don't you shoot next week?
2 weeks.
Oh, 2
we have
weeks,
rehearsal.
Okay.
Yeah, we have rehearsal this week, rehearsal next week, and then it's all coming up real fast.
Yep.
It's very exciting though. And the prep for that, it's a lot of like hurry up and wait. That's what acting kind of is. Like you have an opportunity and then it's like, okay, we'll just make sure that you're ready for whenever it's going to happen. And luckily I have dates on the calendar, but it's like a couple weeks away. So I just get to sit and being a little nervous, but I've got some really, really fun things that are happening. I'm going to be in a music video in a couple of days. So like, that's really exciting. There's, I'm, getting to participate in an agent night for our acting school, which is really neat. Just getting to meet some other people in the industry too. And I don't know, for my news, that's about it. I think. I don't know if I think that's all.
You think that's all? Well,
but it's crazy. Like, we stay busy. We put our energy into things that we really care a lot about. And then when the opportunities present themselves, we can show up for it, which is so cool. And I really like that I get to show up and feel like I'm prepared for that. And, looking forward to it. But I will say...
we went to see Bogonia too, which I'd like to
You want to talk
mention.
about that?
Yeah, because it was an incredible movie, and I think that when you have incredible movies, we should
We should talk
mention
about
them.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So, Begonia, which is the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie that stars Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. And it's been out since October 24th. And so I'm a little bit late in seeing it. I like to see things pretty soon. But I will say it might be in my new top 5. It might be my newest movie in my top 5 favorite films. I loved it. It was so satisfying. There are so many parts of it that just made me it made me so excited to be in the film industry. The process of filming it and where they did it and how each of the actors approached the characters. I'm obsessed with the film. I think that it's it's dark and very heavy and also really fun.
Right.
In a kind of sick and twisted way, but it's really, really fun. And it is a edge of your seat movie going experience. You never know what's going to be happening next. And I love that I wasn't able to predict anything. That it's almost as if as he was crafting the story, he knew where the audience was going to lean. He knew what we were going to think and then jumped ahead 3 steps. And I love that in a film. I think that it was perfectly well-rounded. I mean, it was spectacular. So if you haven't seen it yet, go see Begonia. It's awesome. I really like that movie. I really, really liked it. What else? Oh, so we are going to talk about our guest. I loved talking to him. He sometimes when you have people in your periphery, you get an idea of what they might be like in person. And I love when I have the moment where I get to connect with them person to person and realize, oh, you're nothing like this, the idea that I had of you. And he's just so grounded and has such a really authentic approach to why he does what he does. When it comes to real estate development and in building, there's sort of this stigma with it.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. But one thing that I was really delighted to find out was how he got there, why he decided to go into it, because it comes from such a warm-hearted place and wanting to really create history. In Los Angeles, we don't have a lot of, we have historic homes, and obviously we've talked about a lot with SIA and the importance of maintaining the history of architecture in Los Angeles. But I feel that when it comes to building new things, a lot of the things that are being built are kind of made for right now and not really thinking about the future. And one thing I loved in the way that Mauricio talked about what he does is that he's so focused on the foreverness of it. That a restaurant here is expected to be around for maybe 7 years and then it'll pass on. But he focuses on the ones that have been around for a long time. What do they do? And applying that into architecture, applying that into these homes that he's building. And I found it really refreshing and it gave me a lot of hope, honestly.
I think his philosophy is fantastic. I think that his love for the city is palpable. So yeah, it was an amazing interview.
It was an amazing interview. And it was also lovely that we had Kelsey here for it too. She was off camera and wasn't being recorded, but she was here. She was participating, she's emoting. And it was just nice having an audience a little bit. But I love Kelsey so much because she has such a great eye for really great talent and for really great people. She's from the Midwest like me.
Just, yeah.
The Midwesterners. I feel like there's something special about us, but but I really adore her. And she's been such an important part of my experience walking into the design industry. I met her right away and I absolutely adore and admire her and the work that she does. And just as a person, she's so fun. She's
very smart.
very smart.
Fun, very smart.
Very smart. Yeah.
So we enjoyed that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, is there anything else that you wanted to?
No, but yes, actually, no, but yes, I do. Sébastien Léon, who is a dear friend of ours, had an opening at Ralph Pucci in New York.
Ooh, yeah.
And for his new line of furniture and lighting. So if you're in New York, go to Ralph Pucci and go see our friend Sebastian's work. I'm excited. Can't wait until he comes back to LA to show it.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. I miss them.
Yeah.
They moved out to New York a few months ago now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he's incredibly talented. So yes, if you are in New York listening to this, go to Ralph Pucci, but also go to Ralph Pucci in LA just for fun.
Yeah, because
It's just a
Ariane
good
is there,
time.
and that's
Ariane
worth,
is there.
that's worth going there. But yeah, I can't wait to have them back, and hopefully we'll have him on the podcast when he comes back.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Well, should we get to it?
Let's go.
Hi, this is Elise from Clutter Bravado podcast. Clutter Bravado is an independent podcast, and as any independent artist will tell you, getting off the ground is a little challenging. If you like what you're hearing, please like, comment, share, subscribe, support us in any way that you can on the platform where you're listening. And follow us on Instagram at Clutter Bravado for exclusive clips, events, and giveaways. We quite literally could not do this without your continued support. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for listening. Tell your friends, and please follow and subscribe so that you can be the first to have access to our latest episodes. Now, back to the show. Welcome to Clutter Bravado. We are here with Mauricio Oberfeld of Dugally. Oberfeld, how are you feeling?
Good. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. I'm really glad you were able to make it. Having you here is really important to us. Having someone who has been in the real estate development space for as long as you have been and in the echelon that you are in, I'm really, really excited to get to know how your brain works.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So first, are you originally from LA?
No, I'm from Mexico City.
From Mexico City. And when
Yeah.
did you move here?
A long time ago. We won't go there, but I moved here when I was 13.
Okay. And then you studied at USC for
I did.
architecture.
I did.
Amazing.
So you're almost an Angelino at this point. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
You know, it's, because you're from Paris, well, you've been here less, but you're from where you're born and spend your formative years.
Yeah.
So for me, I will always be from Mexico
Right.
City, even though my life has been mostly here. Yeah.
Do you feel like there is a similarity between Mexico City and Los Angeles?
Yeah, it's a lot of Mexicans here.
Yeah, true.
It feels like it. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities in I think in weather and the people. I think that culture very, very different. I think there's a lot more similarities between Mexico and Europeans than there are with Mexico and LA.
Okay. Wow. So what about architecture? So you landed in architecture. Were you interested in architecture in Mexico City before you left? Like as a kid, was that something that you were interested in?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't think I ever looked at architecture as something that I was interested in. I think it was more the travels.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to travel a lot when I was a kid. My parents took us everywhere. I think just being exposed to so much of the world, I was really interested in buildings all over the world. I didn't know that would translate one day to me being interested in architecture and building and development, but just simply seeing cultures, buildings, and cities all over the world. I think was part of what formed that part of my interest in it.
Yeah. Tell me about that travel. What was that like?
It was amazing. We were very lucky. We had, our parents, since we were little, they always took us everywhere, from coming to Disneyland, which, was what everybody wanted, but wherever, in New York and South America and Europe and all over.
Wow.
So we really got to see a lot of the world and experience that. And then as we grew older, once we were moved here, and me and my siblings were in our teens and even later, we just kept traveling and going to all kinds of places. And then, of course, then I got married, had kids, and then I continued that all through my marriage and my family, just taking my kids and my family everywhere.
I think travel, because it's interesting, because a lot of our guests, it's Europe-centric kind of thing, but is there South America? Is that a big influence, like Buenos Aires, or is it?
Not a big influence. Spend some time, and it's incredible. It's actually one of the places I want to go back to, because it's gone through a lot of bad years. And I hear from people that it's very much worn down. So I'm excited that they're starting to rebuild and really invest and do better there. It wasn't as much of an influence. When you go down, there's a lot more European influence also,
Right.
like than you do have here. I think it all kind of goes back to the European influence. I mean, these are all colonies of,
Right.
of different European countries, so you see that pretty much in Brazil. You'll see the influence, the Portuguese influence, and in Argentina you'll see Spanish and French influence.
Yeah.
Mexico as well, a lot of Spanish more than anything, but some French as well.
Some French, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So when you were studying architecture, did you know that this is the path that you wanted to stay on? Did you have anything else that was like, oh, I'm kind of interested in this too? Or were you always dead set on this path?
So no, I wasn't. I actually kind of landed in architecture by default.
Really?
Yeah, because I loved building, but I didn't know if I wanted to be an architect. I applied to different schools, different programs. Like UCLA had didn't have architecture as an undergrad, so I applied under aerospace engineering.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
like, I liked physics and I liked
Yeah.
building things. I got in everywhere, and I decided go to USC and try architecture. And the first couple semesters, really, they're all about kicking you out. So I wasn't sure if I liked it or didn't like it, but I certainly liked the challenge, so I wasn't going to get kicked out. And then by the time I was in second year, I was like, okay, well, this is starting to grow on me. And then I kind of realized that, like, I figured out the hack of how you get better. And to me, it was really not how good a designer can you be when you're doing it for 1 or 2 years, right? So
Right.
it's really a lot more than that. It's much more the creative side of it and your presentations, the creativity behind it. And back then, technical skills. Then I just decided I wanted to stay regardless of whether I wanted to be an architect. And then decided that as time went on, that it would be very difficult for me to be a great architect, and I wasn't going to settle for being an okay or a good architect, so that I had a lot more control going into development and construction to really be great. And so that's why I shifted and went into construction and development.
I want to talk about what that shift looked like. So you've always loved building things. You've always loved creating something. And so going from the mindset of an architect, which is more of like the drawing and the drafting and the ideas part of it, and then into the actual tangible logistics of building something. What was the transition like for you?
It was almost natural because I felt you can't. I started as a developer.
Yeah.
And you couldn't really be a developer if you didn't have creativity to know what you develop. I mean, a lot of developers go and hire an architect, an interior designer, and a builder, and like, great, it's just a business.
Right.
And that is a big part of it. But I think that doesn't bring you the success that if you really understand what you're doing and have that creativity. And I think time's proven me right. If you go back to when I started developing in 1993 to today, and you see what developers are around from when I started, none, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it seems like every cycle, new developers come up, they see, oh, great opportunity, let's invest. Cycle goes down, they either go broke or move on to something else. New cycle, new people come in. And so this has been now, I'm in my 4th cycle, and I don't think there's anybody around from when I started. Very, very few, if anything, 1 or 2. And I think that's because of the understanding of design and being able to implement and apply that to what you're doing.
And the knowledge. And I think it's funny because it's something that we see in restaurants, for example. The people that are chefs and restaurateurs, they go through ups and downs, but they stay within. They keep their restaurants. Or even for me, antique dealers, for example. I mean, if you have the knowledge and that's your passion, even though there are ups and downs and you open and close, but you stay. It's interesting and then you see people coming in and out that are like, yeah, I'll do that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, one of the things is early on we were doing some spec homes. I hate the word spec.
Tell me about that. Why do you hate it?
Yeah.
Well, I hate the word because it's just it's a very how should I say? It's a word that is, first of all, universal for anything that you're doing speculative building, right? So it could be something very low end, something very high end.
Okay.
It doesn't define luxury. It doesn't define really what we do. So I don't like the word because it's just very shallow.
Okay. Okay.
So
What word would you use instead?
that's a good one. Custom.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that there really isn't one. I wish I could have coined one. You know, it's like, oh, goes back to when Mauricio Oberfeld came up with this term for spec building at this level. That doesn't really exist. It's just, you know, one of the things that it goes back to for me, how I started and met my partner Matt, was as a developer and him building with his dad. And I realized that this whole spec business was just a racket for building. At the time, there were these Columbia Savings homes that were super cheap. We talked a little about Permanence. Those homes wouldn't last anything, right?
Right.
I wanted to do the opposite. I wanted to build what's going to be around for 100 years plus. And so it was the idea that in order to do that, I had to control the construction. I couldn't be a businessman just, hey, I'm going to go and buy this and hire everybody. Because the key to everything is the construction. Even a great design, a great architect, if you don't have the right builder, means nothing. And second is the branding of it. Like, I wanted to build something because it isn't, oh, this is a spec house. Who's a builder? Yeah, whoever. It was about, this is not a spec house, this is a Dugally Oberfeld house. So we partnered, and the idea was to always have a brand that was recognizable.
Yeah.
Anything that we would build and sell immediately would be listed as a catalog home by us. And that would give you the credibility. And so brokers, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a broker that doesn't know us. And when they show a client and say, oh, this is a Dugally Oberfeld home, the client may not know who we are, but the brokers do. And they vouch for it and say, well, no, these guys build the best.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about the connotation of spec or anything else. It's just simply, it's a home for sale. And it doesn't matter that it was built for purposes of business. It was built of the highest quality with you know, all of the bells and whistles that you would expect in a home of that level. That's what I wanted to do from day one.
So the challenge that for you, I imagine, because you know when you build a house for a specific client, you have their lifestyle, their you have to imagine who you're building it for, right? It's like, how do you work with that?
Yeah, it's interesting because you don't know that, and you know. Of course, we work with a lot of clients, and everyone has their wants and the needs. And some of them, you don't even know the wants and the needs because you're dealing with layers underneath the clients. The clients themselves don't get involved. They're, you know, very, very, very high net worth. Each of those situations, you are deferring to what the client wants or what their team tells you they want. In ours, you're really imagining who's going to be this client.
Right.
And I always look at properties almost like as a property whisperer, right? I kind of go on a site and I just sit there for a long time thinking, what feels good here? What's the right style? What's the right size? What's the right quality level? What's the type of client that would be here? So who's buying in the market today, right? Every single project we've ever done, and how to be innovative, because you're not going to build what everybody else is doing. It's one of the things that I never wanted to do, would copy everybody else. I wanted to always be setting the sort of the trend. And I hated these trendy homes. And if you go back to when we didn't do moderns, when we were doing traditional, whether it was French or Italian or Spanish, we were always thinking outside the box. Like, hey, how about Palm Beach? And, you know, go study Palm Beach and Addison Meisner and create the best Palm Beach house.
Yeah.
On and on. And so you don't know who your client is, but the reality is that you don't have to. Clients will come in and take any building if it's done right, and they'll put in their
style.
Yeah, their own style, their own personality into it. And this goes back to, you know, in Paris. Imagine 300 years ago, did they think about who's going to live there? No, these buildings are their buildings, and everyone who's lived in these buildings, and some of these buildings I've had 30 people go through, they will put their personality. And same thing when you have a house for sale. You know, you look at it, it's going to appeal to some, it's not going to appeal to others. They're all going to bring their personality. And we do the houses to the point where it allows for that. But certainly, you're not going to be making very bold decisions that, you know what's going to be
Right.
for a very small group and what's going to be much more universal.
Yeah.
And so you are careful not to do things that are going to pin you to a very small group.
Yeah, and also in that idea of trends, when you are creating a home that's intended for a certain way of living in a certain time period, that ages. It ages very, not very well. So I want to talk a little bit more about building for permanence and what that actually looks like, because there are a lot of things going up that don't seem like they're intended to be around for very long. And you mentioned that a little bit. Can you give me like a couple of examples of what those like more temporary, like 15 to 20 year builds look like versus the kind of work that you do?
Yeah, I mean, it has to do with budget and quality, right? I mean, I don't think anybody's ever building something thinking, well, this is for 10 or 20 years and then we don't have to worry about it. It's just the way it works out. They don't age well, like you say. So, I mean, there's really good examples of people who come in and build, and those houses 20 years later are torn down.
Right.
Or gutted completely. And I think that's a massive failure on whoever built it. In part, it has to do with if you're going to just build this spec, again, going back to, hey, a lot of people think, I'm going to buy this property, build a house, what's the cheapest I can build, and it's going to sell for X dollars per square foot. And they don't have the understanding that that per square foot price is completely variable on what you're building and the quality. So they'll build and say, oh, well, okay, from the engineering, what's the cheapest? Well, let's try to do mostly wood, no steel, no concrete, no. You can come and do a structure all wood and as inexpensive as possible, or you can come and do it all solid steel reinforced concrete and walk on it and it feels like, it's going to be there for 300 years. And the cost difference is massive.
Yeah.
And that goes through your waterproofing, your roofing, your everything. So if you're going to be looking at the most inexpensive way to do it, well, in 20 years, that house is going to be crooked. It's going to be leaking. It's going to have, probably replace the roof even before. Everything about it, it's just going to feel cheap. Your windows and doors are going to feel old. They're not going to open smooth because it's been settling. So there's a huge difference, and sometimes you can't build the level of quality because the budget won't allow. We stay away from those projects because why am I going to build something that doesn't represent what we are?
Yeah.
I'd rather not do that. I'd rather focus on the ones that will represent who we are. And then you're building, and that's where you go. And I mean, most of the projects that we've done in the last many years, I'd say they'll be there for a couple hundred years, if not longer.
Yeah, and that's primarily with the materials that you're using and the quality of the design and the engineering that you're... Yeah. So in that, is there something that's sort of emerging as a trend that you, in architecture or in home design overall, that you feel is something that is intended to last, or something that you're like, oh, I'm going to pick up on that because that's something that we can incorporate into long-lasting design?
Well, I think there's two different aspects of, one is structural, one's aesthetic.
Okay,
right?
yes. Yeah.
So the structural part is simply what are the best means and methods of building a house that's going to be there for as long as you want, 200 years, let's say. It's very possible that that house is going to go out of style because even though you try to do it timeless, trends do change.
Yeah.
But then you just simply remove what you don't like and redo the interiors and whatever has changed styles. So the structural part is absolutely key. You have to start with that as a basis. And then it's the rest of it is aesthetic. What is trendy? What is trending? What is going to allow you to make it more timeless? So I'll give you a perfect example. In Los Angeles, we went through the whole mid-century was all modernism. Yeah. And it was brilliant. We defined mid-century modernism to a large degree. And then we went into the 60s and 70s, and it was an abomination. I mean, it was like, you might as well, there's nothing to say from that stuff. Most of it was just really bad architecture. Okay. And then went into, trying to copy Europe and these European-style homes, to not single any out. And those were great, and to a certain degree started getting better and better. And then all of a sudden people were seeing modernism across the world. They wanted modern again. So in the 90s and early 2000s, people started building modern, but really we were kind of rusty. And so as a society, what you saw here happening in Los Angeles was all trendy. And when you see these houses today, they have not aged well because they were super trendy and they were built for a period of time that the details weren't well thought out. And, you know, it's just boxy and white and glass and steel. And hey, that's modern. And so when we started doing modern, really what kind of kicked off for us a huge part of our elevation to being very good modernism was my own house. We did in 2010. And I wanted this house to be a modernism revival, to really be a test of a structure that's going to live for a long time and not be trendy. And we did it. We used materials that are not going to be going out of style or cracking and looking bad, plaster that might not look good. And the house today, I mean, people come in, they're like, did you just build this? Like, no, it was built 15 years ago. I'm like,
wow.
No way, you know.
Yeah.
And there was also another part of it. Modern at that time, everybody was doing kind of more industrial metals and glass and steel. Well, none of that is going to make you feel cozy.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you make a modern feel cozy? And people couldn't understand that we were building something that looked really cozy, and yet it was modern. Obviously today it's a completely different ballgame, and people have realized, yeah, you can actually do both. But at the time, it was educating the world. I think in my house we had 2 or 3 AIA home tours. Probably had about 300 architects walk through it.
Wow.
And it was, you know, it was kind of an eye-opening thing. And then that evolves. And so when you set these ideas and trends, and you want to be at the head of the curve of setting trends, that's where I look to. I want to make sure that's going to be around as long as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the same way that you were talking about how in sort of European architecture, how something now, the way that you would decorate it, the way that you would live in it is completely different than the way that you did when it was built initially. Do you see how you can create space for like in interior, like living in the space, how that can sort of evolve with the advancement of technology, with the like the changes in lifestyle? Like, how do you anticipate that?
I mean, I think that the technology is only going to take you some certain places. Obviously, you take an older building, it's very hard to be able to wire for new technology.
Yeah.
And you do it, and you get through that. But you could come up with the best technology for doors and windows, or you're in a noisy street, okay, glass that's going to be insulated so you don't have the noise and light and all of that. But ultimately, when you're really doing something that is for permanence or the design and for the future, it's a feeling, you know, you're creating, call it a vibe.
A vibe. I like
right?
it. Yeah.
So, so it's not really, I don't think there's any technology that's going to make you be better at making that space feel better for a longer period of time. It goes back to design and feeling. You walk into a space, I don't care if it's a restaurant, a gym, you know, an outdoor park, every place you go to creates a feeling. And it's a vibe.
Yeah.
It could be the music, it could be the light, it could be sounds of the place, right? The colors, the mood, the time of day, time of night, the temperature. So for me, everything we do is really, we try to be creating the best vibe. And it's not as much technology as it is colors and textures and mood boards and making the place feel welcome.
Yeah.
And now technology's allowed us to improve on that, right? There's things that you have in these places that you might not have been able to do a long time ago because maybe the floors, you know, the way we used to do floors, that would cup or bend, and today you can actually do incredible textured floors or whatever you want. They're going to last forever and be fully insulated. And so technology does give you better tools, but I don't think the technology is what's going to define how it becomes or it's going to last longer. It's more the space that you create and the feeling that you create in that space.
Yeah.
The technology here in this building, there's huge shafts. I mean, there are shafts in this building that you could add an extra apartment if you put them all together. And then there's in the basement, we have exit, but they still have the old furnace.
Wow.
That, you know, and that's how so the shafts were to cool down the building too.
Oh, wow.
I know. I mean, it's pretty insane
Yeah.
what they did with that building 100 and something years ago.
Yeah.
So now, yeah, technology definitely it's helping a little bit with saving
Yeah.
some space and
Well, also you have, if you think about what drives a space and what drives a building, go back to mid-century modern. It was all about the views,
Right.
Hillside views.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Because you go to 60s and 70s, and they were building hillside homes with tiny windows that were not even looking at the view. It was like views didn't become important. All of a sudden, they stopped being important. And so if you see most of those hillside homes before modernism and after, they're all smaller windows. View is not important, right? So what drives a building at that point in time? I think today, now we know view is so important. I couldn't fathom a time in the future where views won't be important,
right.
unless the skyline becomes really horrible.
Yeah.
But
Or there's not much to see.
yeah. Well, we went
Yeah.
through a period maybe, where you'd see a bunch of smog, right? Now the city is much cleaner,
Exactly,
much
yeah.
nicer. So, but there are certainly trends that change that guide what you do with buildings. And who knows what those trends will be in the future? We just can't predict them. But you know that there are areas that are trendy, and then all of a sudden, 10 years later, they're not trendy anymore. And you just have to kind of focus on what you're doing. You can't predict if the area you're building in today in 30 years will be a crappy area or a nice area. You know that what you're building is going to be great.
Yeah.
Especially in LA, you don't know.
You don't know.
Things can
Yeah.
change very fast.
Very, very fast.
Yeah, definitely. And something that I'm seeing a lot too is that there seems to be a lot of new building of these like giant condos that are all the same. Many of them look very, very similar to each other. And they're sort of popping up all over the city and oftentimes blocking a skyline or blocking a view, which is unfortunate. But what is your opinion on those as they're popping up through the skyline and adding more height to certain neighborhoods? Like, do you have an opinion on those?
I do. I mean, I think some of them are horrible. I think they've done a really poor job. I understand you can't, it's all driven by budget and it's driven by what makes sense. Property values are so high. What's the highest and best use? There are limits, and I think that some of them have been taken advantage of in areas that shouldn't be that high, or blocking views of certain things. But again, going back to every property kind of tells you the highest and best use. And if you don't listen to that, then you're either underbuilding or overbuilding or underspending or overspending. So we went through, I think, a period here where things got really, really bad in the 08, 09, actually 08 to 2011 or 12. Things were really bad. People lost a lot of money. And then all of a sudden there was a need to overcorrect. And so, if it made sense, well, you have to build a lot more, a lot bigger, a lot more units, bigger units. But bigger is not necessarily better.
Yeah.
Better is better.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's one problem with the city. Then you have another thing, which is the need for housing. So now you have this builder's remedy, and you have the state really coming, butting heads with not just the city of LA, the cities here. I mean, Beverly Hills. You have now by right the ability to build much higher density if you're within a quarter mile of a metro station. So if you think about that, and you go, and there's a metro station, I mean, all along here, all through Beverly Hills, Century City. If you're within a quarter mile, you can build anything because of density, and the city cannot restrict you. Well, you could all of a sudden have in the middle of an area with 2 stories there's actually a big project being proposed in Beverly Hills that I think is 19 stories.
Wow.
That I don't know if they will be able to approve it or not. I
Yeah.
hope not. But it went from 6 to 12 to 19, whatever was the progression. And it makes no sense. If all of a sudden the state regulations allow you to do that, we're going to have a disaster here because zoning will no longer matter. So all of a sudden you got to look and say, am I within a quarter mile of a metro station? That property is worth gold. I can build a bunch. And so that's one of the things that, I mean, we will never look at doing something for the profit if it's not going to be satisfying to us. It's a balance. You certainly want to maximize your investment. There's a very important part of, hey, you're investing, and this is an investment. It's got to have a good return, but there's also a whole social fabric context, which is, are you doing something positive or are you doing something negative for the neighborhood?
Yeah.
And if it's not positive, then stay away from it. You know how many investments there are you can go invest all over the world. You don't have to pick that one.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that, the social, I don't know, it's probably another topic, but, those buildings that are built right now with the lifestyle of, the pool, the gym, the common areas are developed, really well. And then you walk into the apartment and you're like, I could not live in it. I'm sorry. It's depressing as can be. And that I don't get, because I think that there are ways without increasing the budget all that much to make those places look like someone can live in it. Not, it's like concrete. It's like concrete ceiling with some boob light that you can't change because you can't do anything. It's in the concrete, and that's what you're stuck with a bedroom that you put the bed. You don't put nightstand anymore. That's gone because and I don't understand. I don't understand the vision. I don't understand what. I mean, I get the money. I understand, but I'm like, can we just do a little bit better now? And that blows my mind.
It's always blown my mind. I mean, even in ultra luxury, because when we go and look for a property, we're walking into homes that are for sale that are, maybe they're teardowns, but someone's living in it. And you look at the conditions and you wonder, like, how is it possible someone's living in these conditions? In this property, there's $10 million, $12 million, I mean, 20 million, whatever it is, and the conditions, you just can't believe it. Some people don't care. We are very much driven by aesthetics, right? I mean, you wouldn't be able to live in a place that you don't feel comfortable, that is full of clutter, and you got to just search through things to find anything. But some people don't care. That's, and there's a lot of hoarders in this world and in this town, and they just don't get rid of stuff, and you walk in and it's really awful.
Yeah, there's that, but there's also I think there's a quality of life that people don't, it might be subconscious, but there's a quality of life that you get from having a home that functions well for your family. And I don't know that people are realize that or educated in it, or I don't know. And so it's a very strange feeling for me. Yeah, we walked into a house. I don't remember where it was, but it was like a $3 million house. I'm like, how do you live in $3 million worth of real estate like that? It's like it's really crazy. But and then the big new, like all those buildings that have popped up everywhere. Those square things too that are all built in wood. I'm like, really, you can't do any slightly better than that?
Yeah. And that's something that in LA, I feel that that's something that's really common. And what we talked about a little bit, even before we were recording, was about the shelf life of architecture and even like neighborhoods in LA, that things evolve so quickly here and we're always looking for something new. And like, yes, we are in the city of like Hollywood and like wanting things to look like flashy and cool and brand new. And then as soon as they're not new anymore, it's almost as if they lose value here a little bit. But we've spoken to a handful of people that are really involved in the history of LA architecture and the importance of maintaining and saving that history, like Jamie Rummerfield of Save Iconic Architecture. And in those conversations, something that we talk a lot about is that oftentimes, like, it can be developers that have only the business in mind and not have the aesthetics in mind. And yet here you are, someone that carries so much integrity and so much passion for creating beautiful and long-lasting architecture. I think that is something that's really, really special. And another reason why I was very excited to have you on today. But in that same line of maintaining the history, is there something, or like a neighborhood or maybe like a house that you can think of that really defines a specific neighborhood to you? Or is there something that, like a piece of architecture that's really important to what you now do with your development?
Well, look, there's so much of that. Going back to Jamie and SIA, I think that there's a huge part of an importance to saving iconic architecture, but it's almost as important to have CIA, create iconic architecture.
Creating iconic architecture, right? Yeah, I love that.
So one of the things that we lack here is, because everybody's looking at budgets and The truth is, design is secondary for most people. It's just, hey, I need a home. I need it to look beautiful or look okay,
Look
not
okay,
necessarily
yeah.
look good, maybe not beautiful. You have areas, going back to areas like Hancock Park, just down the street, that
Yeah.
have really preserved
Yeah.
the nature of its historical value.
Yeah.
Well, in a huge part because it was built right, because it was built mostly at a time when that was the Beverly Hills of Los Angeles. You know, out west didn't really exist. This was it. Everything radiated from downtown, and so the feeling of that neighborhood has been preserved over time. The problem is we're not creating neighborhoods like that. We're not thinking long term.
Right.
So going back to the French and the Italians, those guys don't think short term, right?
Yeah.
They think generations. Oh, I'm going to expand this part of the city and it's going to be here forever. So how do we do it to make sure it's here forever? We're thinking build it and then tear it down, and there's no continuity. Palisades is a perfect example.
Yeah.
You know, we almost got this clean slate. Like, we have to do this right so that in 100 years you drive by and like, okay, the old Palisades burned. It's going to be in the books and the museums. What is the new Palisades going to look like? If you start having a bunch of different ideas and values, and some will build nice and some will build expensive, but some will build cheap, you can end up with the same hodgepodge that you have in most of the city. So I think that it's really important that as you move forward, we really think long term. That's why for me, permanence is everything. I'm not thinking of something that I know I can sell in 20 years later. I couldn't care what they do. I'm thinking of something that 20 years later I drive by and it's beautiful, and 40 years later my kids drive by and it's beautiful, and 60 years later my grandkids drive by and it's beautiful, and on and on and on. And if everybody starts thinking that as a society we can't be short-term thinkers in anything we do, in business, you know, it's like, okay, what's the ROI? And 3 years, you know, when Italians plant wine or the French plant wine, they don't think about, oh, I'm going to get my return back in 3 years or 5 years. They're thinking about generations. This is great for my grandkids and great-grandkids and everybody else.
Yeah.
So that has to apply to everything that we do and how we think. We talked about restaurants, you know, oh, well, let's build a restaurant. We got to make sure we get our money back in the first 2 years because we don't know if it'll last more than 3. How about the restaurants that are around 40, 50 years? They're not. They don't exist. So we have to start, I think, as a society thinking long-term, permanence, what is good for that, and why not? Like, this idea that things are disposable is just not, it doesn't lead to a a good society.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I completely agree with you on that too. And I mean, if you think about how much waste is created, yeah, it's so much, and also the waste of people's time and energy in putting something beautiful together, and then knocking it down in 15 years. It's
What about
devastating.
culture?
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
you go to New York and you see the culture there, and you have the museums, and you have the restaurants that have been there forever, and the buildings and the stores, and you know, all of a sudden a shop empties out. They don't come and change the facade. Door goes in, they keep it and they use it to their advantage. It goes through the entire thing. There is a very important, this goes back to traveling, you know, seeing cultures.
Yeah.
Culture is everything. What is our culture here? You know, we have to start thinking about, because it's a very young city, Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
So what is this going to be in 300 or 500 years when it's not that young anymore? Are we going to have a culture? What is a culture? You know, is Hollywood going to be around? Is that the culture of the city? So I think we need to start all kind of thinking more longevity. And I don't think it's something where you can come in and say, get a bunch of group of people together and decide.
Yeah.
Just consciousness.
Yeah, and it also kind of definitely needs to be like communicated and shared, and something that's agreed upon with everyone. And unfortunately, I do feel like it's the people that tend to be the most like business minded, the most like getting a return on their investment minded, like right away, that are the ones making the decisions about culture, which is so unfortunate.
And it's also, I mean, you know, our podcast has evolved. We started with, you know, design and art, and we were kind of searching for you know, our message, I think. And the more we talked to people, the more we became just that pride of being in Los Angeles, that creativity, the skills that are in the city, you know, from art and architecture, design to, you know, now we have some more creative, you know, some artists singers, people that are in this town that are dreamers, that are creatives, and we can be proud of that. And I think that the pride of being in LA and being part of this society is huge. And I think that we need to grow that, because there's too much of, and that always bothered me, of like, oh, La La Land, or, being so down on Los Angeles. I remember moving to San Francisco and telling, after a year of living in San Francisco, I was coming down here for my first weekend, and people are, you're going to hate LA. This is just, LA is just so superficial. I came down here and I actually loved it. I loved the weather. I loved the environment. It was very similar to, I'm from the south of France, so it was very similar. So I felt, that part felt at home. But then living here for the last 15 years, 16 years now, there's a love for this community that I have, and kind of proud to be part of it, because there are a lot of talented fucking people here. And if you compare living in New York, where people are like, you tell them that you just moved here, and they're like, welcome to New York, welcome to New York. They're like, and I'm like, I mean, look, New York is fantastic, but they don't have as many, or they have at least as many creatives. Let's not compare and judge. But, there's the amount of creativity here is equivalent to any place in the world right now. And
I think it's as good as any place in the world.
It's as,
New York is different. New York financial, it has its own, amazing culture. And it's been there engraved for a long, long time. And it's mostly engraved in finances, and obviously it's the most important city, one of the most important cities in the world, and it deserves to be that. Absolutely. That's not what we are. We can't. We are a different culture, and we need to embrace it. I mean, Hollywood was born here, and some of the most incredible artists, painters, sculptors in the history of the world. Well, I don't want to go back.
The 20th century,
in the 20th century for sure. Came from here, modernism, to a big degree. So we need to embrace that and build that as a culture, because that is part of what we are. We went through that, we did that, and no one else can claim that. So to kind of turn our backs to that is kind of stupid.
And we still do. I mean, it's like California is, the tip of the spear into, technology, but still, movies and writing. I mean, it's incredible. So yeah, I'm glad that you're translating it in architecture, but there is this big, huge thing of being like, let's be proud of being in LA.
Well, we also need, you guys were at this event at the PDC, and goes back to, we need help from our government officials. Like, why are we filming in Hungary and other countries?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, incentives, right? Yeah. So why can't we, as the state with the 5th largest economy in the world, why can't we provide those incentives?
Right.
Why can't we subsidize it? Why can't we make sure to protect our own? This was our doing. Yeah. We created, I don't want to say we because I wasn't part of it, but Los Angeles created Hollywood. Embrace it, protect it, right? It's almost, it should be a national treasure. Like, okay, don't let it go to other countries. And do this with everything else. The same thing with artists. Like, we have to push that. In architecture, it's so important. I'm at USC on the board of the School of Architecture, and it's a huge part of the reason I want to be there is kind of make sure that we shape the future of the city and the kids that are coming and graduating. A lot of those kids come, study, and graduate and stay here.
Yeah.
So what are they going to be learning? What are they going to be looking at? And make sure that we protect that.
And I think that's there's one not pet peeve, one thing that for me is the Olympics that are coming up, and I'm like, please be proud of California, be proud of LA, show the world who we are. Don't fuck that up, and don't stop being. And it's also like talking about Hollywood and all that stuff. I think we take shit for granted here, a little bit. Like, oh yeah, it's not important. It's like they did with downtown, for example, where they had a really gorgeous downtown. I mean, some of the buildings down there are, and they just moved out. They were like, oh fuck that, we're gonna move out, not try to save it and protect it. And now it's to restore it. It's become apparently it's not working out all that well yet. But let's make it happen. I mean, and I agree with you. I mean, I think that local government but I think it all comes to each one of us also being involved in that's why you and, Jamie and us in our little thing, it's like each one of us has a message and needs to have a voice.
Yeah, I mean, to preserve the culture of Los Angeles, we need to come together as a community and also have something of permanence that we can really identify ourselves with. And I think that in the work that you're doing an incredibly, incredibly important job. So I do want to, we do have lunch that we have to get to.
That sounds amazing.
So before we do that, there are 3 questions that I ask all of our guests. I did prep you a little bit ahead of time, so.
I forgot already, so.
You just no idea.
Perfect. Okay, my first question for you is, what is the messiest place in your home?
I might get in trouble for this one.
Yeah, just use your office.
Well, under my control or in general? My wife's makeup counter is the messiest place in our home.
See, I'm going to, hold on. I don't know your wife, but I'm going to defend her. So
She needs some defending.
So listen, the makeup counter, the makeup area, okay, it's organized chaos. We know where everything is.
This is true.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a lot of stuff. Absolutely. And to the untrained eye, I'm sure it looks like
let me tell you, how many times have I gone with I need a hand cream. Like, I look through, literally spend 15 minutes. I'm exaggerating. Yeah. I don't find a hand cream. Like, honey, do you have a hand cream? Sure, right here. It's like, exactly. This is true. I'm glad you defended her. I will accept it, but it could be a little cleaner. Come on. It's like no, fair. I cannot touch that area. And now she's going to blame me when she sees this, that I didn't design it and build it the right way. It should have been much bigger. I should have put more drawers. Consider. She's absolutely right. I'm guilty. So, yeah, it's all my fault.
It's your fault.
Yeah. Spectacular. I love it.
That conversation is going in the right direction.
Yes, especially when I get home.
I love that answer. Okay, my second question for you is, when you walk into a new space or onto a new land, or a new property, whatever it is, what is the first thing that you notice or the first thing that you look for?
I actually specifically don't want to notice or look for, anything specific.
Oh, interesting.
What I was saying about this, it sounds weird. I don't know how else to describe it, but like a lot whisperer, property whisperer, I just have to feel it and understand. There's been properties, probably our most successful properties, that the first time I walked in, I said, this is not for us. I walked out and came back, spent time. Because there's so much to each property. Obviously, you have to first look at the location. That's one thing that, almost anybody you talk to in development will say location, location, location. So why even go look at a property that's in a less than desirable location? So you're looking for that. You're not going to go take seriously a property that you haven't already vetted is in the right location, is the right size. So you try to go in with no preconceived notions, not go through right away. The most important is the property, a good property. And then you feel it. What are the neighbors? What are the views? What is, every little area has its own microclimate. So
that's true.
You could be in a property and it's always hot, and you could be next door and it's always cold, right? Wind, things that I've made mistakes in. I've done properties where I didn't realize that there was a little stream of wind there, that just because it's in a ravine and the wind comes up and it's always cold, or things like that. So it's so many things. You have to spend a good amount of time. And I don't think we have ever bought a property where we go in and say, oh, this is great, make an offer and not come back. I mean, you go back and over and look at every aspect, and then start thinking, what would I design? What is this neighborhood like? What is this neighborhood going to look like? When I bought my own home, it was an empty lot.
What
up
area of town are you
in the Bird Streets, up in Doheny Estates. And these were all older houses. There would have been one modern house built, which was built in 2004, and I think it was torn down in 2011, like 8 years later. Long story of why that happened, but they were all older homes, and I was going to build a modern home in that area. And so it was important to visualize, what is this going to look like? And today, I think there's 2 older homes, maybe 3 left in the entire street. Everything was completely rebuilt.
Wow.
And I had a lot to do with it. I built 3 homes on that street. Thinking of the future and how is that going to belong, and does it work? all those things. It's not one.
Yeah. It's everything all at once. Yeah.
It is.
When you walk in, do you have that? I mean, I get the fact that before you invest, you have to really do your due diligence. But do you have an instinct? Is there a feel when you walk into somewhere? Is there
Yeah.
like something like where you're like in your gut? Do you get that?
Yes, but it's interesting. Sometimes you can't trust the first instinct because sometimes you go there already with some preconceived notions. So
Right.
if the house is really ugly, you're trying to save some of it. There are different factors that when you first go in, you don't notice. And so that's why you got to go 2 or 3 times. And I think the couple of the most successful projects are projects that at first I didn't think it would be good. And sometimes it takes somebody else telling you, trust me, come back because you're not seeing this right.
Mm-hmm.
You got to listen to all of it, and then you make up your mind.
Wow.
It's interesting to have that because I would be like, I mean, I'm such a gut, I go for the gut, and I would be like, I would be a really bad investor.
It's like, but it feels nice.
But it feels good.
Okay, my last question for you is, do you have a favorite property? Like, do you have like a favorite space? Maybe it can be your own house, or is there something that stands out to you of something that you created that you're like, that is my favorite?
I mean, we've done so many homes, it
Yeah.
would be so hard for me to say which is our favorite. And, you evolve. So usually
Right.
what you're building at the time is your favorite because you're improving.
Yeah.
Personally, my happy place is we have a house in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
When we did our house here, I basically did everything. And my wife said, you do it. It's your passion. If I like it, we move in. If not, we sell it. We moved in.
Yeah.
She's never loved it, but she knew it was my thing.
Yeah.
So when we bought a house in the desert, we reversed roles. So this is your thing. She wanted to create a Moroccan house, and she just did it all. We took a house that was a beautiful shell and just redid everything, and she did it all. And that space is where I find myself happiest. It's just the mountains are incredible. Those desert rocky mountains.
Yeah.
The energy is incredible. The Gulf, the views of the Gulf, all of that feeling. And then of course what she created as a feeling in that house, you walk in and you just feel like the weight of the shoulders, all of a sudden gets removed while you're there.
Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, that's wonderful. Where in the desert?
In La Quinta.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
That whole
the
area.
desert does that for
Yeah,
me.
it really does it, yeah.
I
It already-
drive there, and as soon as I exit the tent, suddenly I'm like,
Yeah.
the shoulders come down.
Yeah.
And
It's magical. It really
It
is.
is.
The energy is very special there. There's no question. I mean, you sleep deeper, you sleep better.
Mhm.
You just feel relaxed when you're there. And, I think our world, all of our world, is so fast-paced and, ever-changing and tense, that's what, for me, is so important, because I go and it just kind of relaxes me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super important for me to do that. So, like
Yeah,
right
I'm
now, the whole summer we haven't been there.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah.
So next week we get to go,
Great.
and I'm just like, I need it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
After a whole summer of traveling and not being here, and juggling work and travel is very hard. I just need to go and
just
disconnect.
drive
Relax.
and spend a
Yeah.
week. Do you do work all over the United States though, or do you concentrate on
Southern California.
Southern California?
Yeah. I mean, we've built a lot in Northern California also, but we shut that down. We pretty much do Southern California. We're in the desert. We
Right.
have an office in Orange County. We do a lot of work in Rancho Santa Fe, obviously Los Angeles. We've done up to Santa Barbara. We've done a lot of projects outside in Florida and Montana, different areas where clients ask us to go.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And right now, a lot of people are asking us to go to Vegas, go to Miami,
Really, yeah.
and go to even Montana, upstate New York. So we're kind of evaluating whether we would expand, where we would do it, where's the best resource to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are really learning that they want to build at a different
Right,
level of quality,
definitely.
and their local builders don't have that
Yeah,
expertise.
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's gonna be Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah,
Vegas.
Vegas is tough. It's close. It's much easier.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
But, I would have to go and spend a lot more time in the desert and to de-stress.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Well, I would do Vegas before. Miami, to me, would be a challenge. First, it's far. And yeah.
Yeah. But
Wow.
there's a lot happening there. So, I mean,
Yeah.
this is exciting. Do you have anything that is coming up that you want to plug or anything that you want to chat about? Like, real quick, just to let our listeners know
I
about?
wish you would have told me that one earlier. I would have really thought about it. Not really. I mean,
Okay.
you know what? We are in a good place. We haven't done a spec home in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the market getting challenging, and we never want to push anything that's not the right
Mm-hmm.
time. We're very conservative, so we spent the last 6 years basically building for clients and really growing our business to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And we have an amazing team. We have an amazing company culture that we've created. Our people are amazing. That's what our company is about. It's about our people. So we're in a place that we could only pinch ourselves to realize how good we have and what a great team we have. And it's an amazing group that everyone has just good camaraderie, good energy. This is, we have a rule now that we implemented after a couple bad apples, that is no assholes, and that applies to both where we build and the clients we build with and our team. And so
That's a great rule.
yeah,
And
I copied it from a friend of mine that he basically did their whole company on rule number 1. They printed T-shirts and everything. That's a good rule to have.
and we have to say that the latest addition to your team, we're very fond of. Kelsey,
amazing.
thanks for making this happen.
Yes.
Just sitting directly off camera, just
Ju-
like
ju-
glowing in the light.
Glowing in the light. Yeah, no, it's a fantastic. Looks like a fantastic team.
Mm-hmm.
To
It
what
is.
we heard.
Yeah, actually, if I'm going to plug, say anybody who's looking for, a great place to come work, come, because we just hire. We don't fire.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Unless you're an asshole.
Asshole do not apply. But if you're a nice
Exactly.
person who wants to
You want
do some good work, quality work,
great quality work, good vibes, good company, great values. We're always looking for good people.
and the best way is to go on the website, or
Yeah, go on the website and there's a link there, and
we'll
yeah, for
put
sure.
a link in the
Yeah.
notes.
In our show notes, we always link everything and all of your, social media and everything too, so everyone will be able to
Amazing.
find you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been such a pleasure to sit down with you, and thank you again so much for being here. And it is such a pleasure to have someone that has such integrity in their work and is really leaving a positive stamp on the city of Los Angeles. And
But thanks for taking the time to, because I know it's a busy schedule, and so let's do a little lunch.
yeah,
And
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
thank you.
Thanks very much.
Of course.
Clutter Bravado is filmed on location at the Kimberly Denman Showroom in Los Angeles, California. For inquiries about our furniture, a directory of our guests, or just to reach out with questions or comments, email us at clutterbravado@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Clutter Bravado.